involved in economic activity in one fashion, way or another. And it's going to be a market that's going to yield great benefits from a financial point of view. I'm told that it could be $3 trillion of a market. So the opportunities are enormous. As the Minister said, I expect this to be the first of a number of meetings that we would like to hold with yourselves. We want, as South Africa, to advance the interests of our South African businesses and to be focused in doing so. But at the same time, we've got to be much broader than that, particularly now that we are going to chair the African Union to advance the interests of our continent. So we wear two hats, the South African hat as well as the continental hat. For we know that we now have an instrument, the AfCFTA, which is going to enable us to develop our economies and in a number of ways also industrialize our continent and re-industrialize those economies that have already reached certain levels of development. And this is going to lead to the long-term prosperity of our continent. So today we want to engage in a conversation of how you see the future looking from your own sector perspective, and it may not be a forum where you talk about your own business perspective, but broadly about the sector you're operating in and how you see this AfCFTA being of great help. And clearly, in the end, there are quite a number of issues that still need to be addressed. Negotiations are still going to ensue, and we would like to be well-informed, well-armed, discussions of people who are on the ground. We've got to deal with things like which products are going to be tariff-free. We've got to deal with issues like the rules of origin of various products. And some people are looking at this with a bit of trepidation and fear. But we're also going to have to look at how do we connect the various regions on our continent from a value chain point of view. So this is an exciting moment. This is a moment that is pregnant with great opportunities, and we therefore would like to have very informed discussions with all of you so that we are able to see how we exploit the great opportunities that this Africa Free Trade Continental Agreement is going to yield for us. But as we do this, we've got to look at it against the backdrop of what other people in the world are experiencing. How is the EU traversing its path to the prosperity and the development that they have achieved? Are we able to learn anything from them? The North Americans and a number of others in the Far East. So whilst we're newcomers in all this, we can benchmark ourselves against what others have done, and we can learn lessons from them. So we have a great promise that lies ahead, but it is a complex one. We will be a continent that is 2.5 billion strong in terms of population by 2050, and you can already see that we are going to be growing exponentially. And we've got to, as we set things in motion, be looking to the future, because the next generation will be younger, they'll be better educated, and they will more likely live in the cities of our continent, and they will obviously be much more connected from a digital point of view than we are connected. So we've got in whatever we do to start preparing for that future. And it is this generation that is going to be much more demanding, and we have to put things in place to make sure that that future that is beckoning is a future that we are all prepared for. There will be great demands for a variety of goods, which many of you are currently trading or manufacturing, either food, electronics, construction materials for housing, and what have you. So we've got to look at all that. And it might be helpful for us to look at various sectors of various economies and see where South African companies can occupy spaces and play big at the medium level or whatever. But all this will also be accompanied by a huge investment surge, investments that are going to enable us to reach the higher levels of economic integration, are going to accompany the progress that we make. It is estimated that infrastructure is going to be the key driver of all this, and we're going to require quite a lot of billions of dollars as we build ports, rail, road and air connectivity, and that opens up enormous business opportunities. But it could in many ways also be throwing out a lot of challenges in the sense that are all the African countries ready to capture these opportunities? So colleagues, I think a new era is about to dawn on our continent, and this in many ways could be a decade that we get ready for what I could call the golden decade of the African continent, new instrument, Africa Free Trade Area Agreement, a number of other positive developments that are taking place. But at the same time, we've got to address some of the challenges. The continent has set out this year, 2020, as the year of silencing the guns. There are still guns that are blazing in some parts of our continent. This year, we may well see up to 20 countries going to elections, which is a very positive sign, where democracy is becoming more widespread on our continent, but we still face a number of challenges such as guns that are still blazing. It is a year when we want to silence those guns, and South Africa, therefore, is going to be participating as chair of the AU in a year when we've got real serious challenges. I said to our ambassadors earlier today that the fact that we are going to chair the African Union should be seen as a collective national effort. It is South Africa chairing, it's not just one person. So it is our collective responsibility to make sure that our role in leading the continent on a number of areas becomes successful. We are the champion for infrastructure development on our continent, and we need to work together with the private sector, our companies, to ensure that we spread the infrastructure projects that will be the pillars on which our economic prosperity as a continent does rest in the end. So today we have a moment to have deep discussions that will be followed up by many others that we will have as time moves on what we see lying ahead as we implement the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. And I'd like to say that let's not shy away from touching on challenging issues that we need to discuss, because this is indeed a historic moment for us as South Africans as we get ready to get into this new era. So today's conversation is meant to unpack these matters now, and we will do so in the future, other iterations, and allow business and government to jointly identify some of the central features of our common African economic agenda. So I look forward to our discussions. I look forward to us having thoroughgoing discussions, talking about the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. And with those words, I'm rather grateful that you were able to heed the invitation to come and exchange some thoughts and views with us. With those words, I'd like to thank you, and thank you very much, Minister, for opening this session up. Thank you.
All right, that's President Cyril Ramaphosa addressing business leaders there. You'd recall that this morning
the President for his opening remarks, and our open session is now drawn to a close, and as we take leave of our friends from the media, we would then go to the closed session where there would be an opportunity for the dialogue to start. So we'll just pause for a moment to give our friends an opportunity to take leave now from us.